I saw how our teachers and families struggled, whilst an elite few got ahead. When the people granted us the opportunity to serve in government, we had a lot of work to do. As Minister of Finance, I helped to clean up the rot of 30 years of one-party rule. We saw our country through the global financial crisis and the Stanford collapse. Through all of that, we introduced the school meals program, the school uniform program, and laptops for children. While we were not perfect, no one is perfect but Almighty God. We worked day in and day out to defend the nation and put people first. Today I see too many families struggling for a lack of jobs and the mental stress that comes with it. The cost of living is out of control. And for too many of us, water is still not readily available. And our needed pension checks are not coming on time. While the elite few did well, the ABLP denied you the right to choose what you put in your body. Whilst we believe in vaccines, we don't believe it's the responsibility of government to control your bodies. We will bring an end to all the mandates. This election is about choice, and we believe that we are the right choice because we give you the choice.
It's time to join the family at the People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. We offer savings accounts, deposits, fixed deposits, loans, among other related services. You can even become a shareholder by purchasing a minimum of 50 shares at $5 per share. Membership is super easy and convenient. Just visit our newly opened credit union building on Upper Newgate Street, Monday to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with proof of ID and address, along with $15 to cover registration and passbook. And you'll be set and on your way. For further information, call 462-8888 or 727-2285. People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Today, tomorrow, together.
Join us for the next episode of The Right Choice, Wednesday at 8 p.m. on UPP YouTube TV.
I just feel like people not understand me. I don't want to even give me a chance. Go to school, I'm a hard skill. I'm a hard worker, but there's just not enough jobs out there. The economy is so bad that I'm ashamed to say that we're in the year 2022 and water hardly one near the pipe. Now them can't tell how we, in order to get a job, I must take the job. I understand the vaccine is a good thing and all that, but I just hate the fact that it's mandated. It's my body, it's my choice. I shouldn't be denied a job, education or benefits because the choices I make for my body. For me, this time, personally, the UPP is the right choice because they are the party of choice.
UPP TV presents The Right Choice, a show created to highlight the candidates of the United Progressive Party and their ideas and plans for the future. Here's your host for The Right Choice, Dr. Jackie.
Good evening, and welcome to UPP TV. Actually, our 8th edition of The Right Choice. Tonight, as on all other Wednesday nights, we have a very, very special treat for you. We are focusing our attention on two very powerful, passionate, committed candidates from St. John's Rural West and St. John's City South. Yes, you guessed right. We're featuring our Senate Minority Leader, Senator Richard Bliss, in the heart of St. John's City South, the proud community of Ovals, to parents who were lifelong educators and the values learned at home oriented him towards a life of service to family, community, and national development. He received his primary education at several institutions, including the Seventh-day Adventist and Jennings Primary, the Princess Margaret School before moving to Trinidad, where he completed secondary education at the Caribbean Union College Secondary School. Franz is a graduate of Oakwood College in Huntsville, Alabama, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting. He went on to gain professional experience with General Motors, Salomon Smith Barney, Citco Fund Services, and the Bank of New York Mellon in financial and fund accounting services. Committed to the principle of lifting as you climb, Franz has committed his talents and skills to improving the economic condition of those who move away from employment and plunge into business. As such, he is a John Maxwell certified coach, speaker, and teacher, and has been recognized and awarded by many organizations over the years. He has lived in northern Malawi in Africa, where he remains the executive director of Africa Lift Incorporated, a non-profit corporation whose mission is to improve the lives of Africans through education, entrepreneurship, and social development. Franz currently operates Youth Lead in Antigua, a program that develops young people in the areas of entrepreneurship, leadership development, emotional intelligence, and public speaking. He's also a board member of the Antiguans and Barbudans for Constitutional Reform and Education, ABCRE. But Franz is best known as the co-host of The Voice of the People and the host of Constitution Corner on Observer Radio. We welcome Brother Franz de Freitas.
Hey, thank you, Jackie.
The party in the 2018 elections after 13 dedicated years as chairman of the constituency branch. He is currently the Senate Minority Leader in Parliament, as well as a community and social activist. For 4 years, Senator Lewis held the position of Vice Chair of the UPP, was Labor Relations Officer, and is credited with updating the party's constitution as a member of the Constitution Review Committee. A trained teacher, Lewis taught for 22 years at the University of Technology, Jamaica, the University of the West Indies School of Continuing Studies here at home, and in the secondary schools. Lewis is an information technology specialist who has put his considerable experience to work in the Ministry of Education as a former assistant director. As Director of Education Management Information Systems, he created the first EMIS in local schools, and he is the co-author of an information technology textbook used by CXC at the secondary level. As an IT management consultant, Lewis has been a member of the Association of Computing Machinery since 2001 and the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, Inc., since 2002. In terms of business acumen, Senator Lewis spent 9 years as a director of the Antigua and Barbuda Development Bank and 5 years on the board of the National Training Agency. Lewis is an OAS Fellow, and he holds a Master of Science degree, summa cum laude, in Management Information Systems from the Graduate School of Computer and Information Sciences, Nova Southeastern University, Florida. He also holds a BSc double major in Computer and Management Studies, first class honors from the University of Technology, Jamaica, where he was awarded the President's Gold Medal for outstanding academic achievement. Senator Lewis also holds diplomas in accounting, fitness and nutrition, and photography. Welcome, Senator Lewis. Our media platforms: Progressive 107.3 FM, UPP TV on YouTube. You also can join us on the Zoom platform for those persons who are joining us on Zoom, and of course on the My UPP Facebook page. We're going to have to take a break. We'll come right back after these messages. Please begin to send your comments, your questions, because you just may hear your comment in the final segment of the program.
We're gonna make the right choice. We gonna make the right choice. Come, let's make the right choice. UPP ready to run the country. Sustainable growth and opportunity. UPP, the right choice.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? We'll move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for The Right Rhythm. The Right Rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's The Right Rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
First, he gassed us. Then, he lied to us.
We have made it abundantly clear that no one, absolutely no one in our country will be vaccinated if they do not wish to be. We uphold that right and respect it.
Can we really trust him not to implement mandates for children aged 5 to 11? Vote them out!
Welcome back to The Right Choice. We are actually sitting in the presence of intellectual royalty. We're talking tonight with Senator Richard Lewis. He is the standard bearer.
Represented the PLM, and my dad represented the ALP, and every weekend we had the opportunity to sit on my gallery and entertain people from a cross-section, a wide cross-section of society, pretty much talking about politics. And so even those children, we were not able to always give our opinions and thoughts relative to the dialogue and discussion. We always were a part of the discussions that happened. And so I grew up with a good understanding of what was happening in Antigua and Barbuda from a very early age. My mom participated in the teachers' strike along with my oldest brother, taking him along, shaping him and the rest of the family in terms of activists and standing up for the rights of teachers in our home. And so in addition to that, my parents were always involved in the community, both teachers and educators, I saw them serving in the community, at home, in the family, extended family, at church and at school. And of course, what you see is what you do. And so as a boy, I participated in a lot of social programs that my parents led and showed us what to do. Now, additionally, in school, I got in a lot of trouble. I don't think that is a secret to anybody, but I tell people up to now it's because of the leadership skills.
Good trouble?
Get the requisite qualifications that my dad in particular required, because in my house, CXC subject was a must. If we didn't have them, we couldn't have any major conversations. And so all these kind of things help to shape who I am as an individual today. As it relates to politics, I decided to consider politics quite early. During my college years as I was in the United States, and certainly after I came back to Antigua here after leaving Malawi, going back to Ovals where I grew up, I realized that Ovals was worse in 2022, today as we sit down here, than when I was a boy 30 years ago in that constituency. And so when the opportunity came to be able to serve at a constituency level in elected politics, I said, look, I'm here on the radio, criticizing, talking about the issues, what should happen, and it would be really just a dereliction of duty for me not to take on that responsibility. And so that is how I decided to serve, because there is a vacuum, a void in our community where we have a representative that refused to do anything, and I'm going to stand up and take the mantle and serve.
But one thing led to the next, and individuals in the constituency, branching around the constituency, they say, you know, after Brother Baldwin, no, it's you. I say, no, I have no interest in elective politics. I'll continue to do what I do for the development of the community and to assist him and whoever else will come after to ensure that the political work is done in the constituency. Look, I was dragged kicking and screaming into the political realm. After giving it serious consideration, I saw the need for someone to step in after the Honorable Baldwin Spence and to continue the great work that he would have done over the 29 years. And out of a love for a community that birthed me, a community that raised me, I decided, hey, let me give back to my community of St. John's, Rural West. So here I ran in 2018, and I'm back again this time. And this time around, as Brother Alex likes to say, this time around, it's going to be UPP, Richard Lewis, down in St. John's, Rural West.
Great, excellent. Now, you've both raised your voices in staunch criticism of the poor excuse for leadership that we currently have in this country, what would you say are the main qualities of a good community leader, a good political leader?
Well, Jackie, anybody who has decided to get involved in leadership across the board have to love people.
Yes.
Right? They have to care about people. And if you don't care about people, then being a representative in any constituency is the wrong work that you should be in. And we have a bunch of people right now, starting with me over there in City South, of representatives who don't love, don't care, are unconsiderate about the people in the community. As I look at St. John City South, from Herbert's all the way down to Ovals and the larger St. John's area, it is an utter shame and disgrace to see what we have for our community. And so if you want to be a leader, you have to love people, you have to be able to create a vision for the community that you're asking to serve. You have to be able to interact with and seek the ideas and interests of the people. And I think those are just some of the basis and the critical parts that you have to have if you're going to put yourself up to lead, particularly in representative politics.
Well, what about you, Brother Richard?
There's so many attributes of a good political leader. I'll just list a few of them. I think you have to be courageous, you have to be respectful, you have to have integrity, you have to be empathetic, you have to be selfless, you have to be humble. You know, when we look at the situation that we have now in Antigua and Barbuda, the kind of leadership that we have in government, we have to question what is going on. These are attributes that are sorely lacking in leadership in government. And so people looking to the United Progressive Party for leadership. And I put to you that what I just mentioned are some of the attributes, some of the qualities that we definitely need and desire in a political leader, and you have that in the United Progressive Party.
Now, you have both had very, very illustrious careers. You have made significant contributions to your country, to the region, to the world. What would you single out as your proudest achievement to date? It doesn't have to be political.
Let me start, Jackie, by saying that I have already reached the pinnacle of the most exciting and important work that I have done in my life. I say it oftentimes, I have 2 children.
Yes.
And I spent about 14 years offering them what I believe the foundation that is necessary to change the world. There's going to be no greater accomplishment that I can have than positioning those 2 children to be world changers. They are currently on their way to do that right now. But that is the thing that up to now continues to hold to be the most important achievement in my life. What we do, how we train our children, how we position and posture them to be the future generation is something that is critical to any society, and that is something that I hold very important and as my greatest accomplishment yet.
Excellent. What about you, Senator?
There's so many things that I can talk about. Brother Franz mentioned family, and that is critical. But I would go with what I would have done in the field of, in teaching. I've, over my decades in teaching, I've touched so many lives. Thousands of individuals would have passed through my hands, and I'm proud that I was able to lead them down a path that today, you walk around and you meet some of them and they remind you of the days that you would have taught them and the things that you would have done, the role model that you were to them. And so I am very proud of the accomplishment that I would have achieved, teaching so many individuals here in Antigua and Barbuda and also in Jamaica at the tertiary level. So education for me definitely would be the proudest moment.
No, you know, I want to believe that the 2 of you are being very modest tonight. Because, you know, when I think of you, Brother Richard, Senator, you are a man, you were the author of one of the leading CXC textbooks in IT, used all over the region. When I think of you, Brother Franz, you have worked in Africa, in Malawi specifically, dealing with grassroots organizations and community and entrepreneurship and so on, and you have this foundation set up to help children of African origin. You guys are both just being modest, and I want you to tell us, you know, how did it feel, Brother Richard, have seen these textbooks being used across the region in IT, you having contributed so significantly to scholarship in education?
I must say, it was a great achievement, but of course education topped that. But it was because of my involvement in education that I ended up writing this textbook. I'm really proud of that. I touched many lives. I've assisted, through the book, assisted many individuals in advancing their knowledge of technology. It was personal development for me. Yes. It opened several doors of opportunity. And so I'm really proud. And let me say, I don't want, I'm sure my wife is listening, that we did it together.
Wow.
Yes, we did it together.
Excellent.
And so she too must be given some credit for the work that we would have done. And we had 7 publications. And
wow.
Moving on. 7 publications, yes,
wow.
and moving on.
Oh, excellent. Congratulations. And Brother Franz, your wife worked with you in that project in Malawi as well. You both family men and you do things together. Tell us about your work in Africa.
Yeah, so as a matter of fact, it was because of my wife's posting in Africa that took me to Africa after we participated in a mission trip with our church. I went to Malawi with a church organization, my family as a matter of fact, and there we came to the conclusion that there's so many resources that are available in Malawi, but the people in that particular town that we were in seemed to not have so much. Yes. And so we sat in New York as a family and decided, look, we are going to contribute some of our time, the resources that we have, the knowledge and information, to the development of young people in particular, helping them to take entrepreneurship and apply it to the thing in northern Malawi. Farming is the principal thing there. And it was such an experience where I thought I was going to Malawi to help Malawian people do things. The 3 years that I was there really changed my life and gave me a perspective that was second to none. Mm-hmm. And I had the opportunity, principally with my children, to be here in Malawi and working with them. Now I must tell you that it wasn't easy to transition to a place that is as far away as Africa. Yes. And it was oftentimes uneasy to have both of my children in a place that we don't know very much about. But I must tell you that in the constituency today as I work, it is many of the experiences that I watched, gained and earned in Malawi that are helping me to navigate and lead St. John's City South to the place that we want it to be.
Wow, excellent. Now, whenever I ask this question of the candidates on the right team, I get some rather interesting, very intriguing responses. What is the one thing we would never ever guess about you? Who wants to start the ball rolling? The one thing that you would never guess.
Well, I don't know how many persons can guess this, but I'm sure Sister Jackie, you would never guess this one. Over some years, was actively involved in the cultural art form as a songwriter.
What? Calypso?
Yes, I wrote my first song, and I was in 3rd form at the Otters Comprehensive School. And the first song made it to the winner's circle. First time around, it made it to the winner's circle. I continued for several years, and 3 of those songs made it to the winner's circle, including a Junior Calypso Monarch. Wow. I've written also for a Christmas Carol, won a couple of competitions there, and also some gospel music. So I'm sure many people would not guess that Richard Lewis was actively involved in the cultural art form, writing calypsos and so on.
Excellent.
I was very good at singing, so I had to find singers.
So you were behind the singer. You wrote the lyrics. Excellent.
That's right.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. What about you, Brother Franz?
Well, Jackie, this is something personal about me that I think most people don't know. Many people see me in a public persona every time that they interact with me, and oftentimes they see me in an outgoing, sometimes aggressive position, but I will tell most people that I can be quite introverted, and my
Really?
Absolutely. And my personality type is actually one called ambivert, where I am almost equally extroverted as I am introverted. However, my role oftentimes publicly calls for an extroverted, sometimes even aggressive posture, and that is the one that tends to win out. But there are times when I am alone and would prefer to be alone, and can be oftentimes emotional and soft in my private moments.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting stuff. What 3 words would you use to describe you? What 3 words best describe you?
I'd say caring. I'm a very caring person. I'm genuine, and I am also a loving person. I'd say those 3 would characterize Richard Lewis.
Yes. What about you, Brother Franz?
I would use the words tenacious, oftentimes emotional, and I also am a very loving person.
Yes. 2 loving men here. St. John's Rural West and St. John's City South. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come right back, and we'll talk to them about their plans for their constituencies. Please remember, put your comments, put your questions, and you just may hear them at the end of the program.
Integrity, the right choice, opportunity, the right choice, the right choice, the right choice,
Are you ready? Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? We'll move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for The Right Rhythm. The Right Rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's The Right Rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
vote them out. We come and vote them out. We come and vote them out. We come and vote them out. We cannot vote them out. We come and 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 vote them out.
We have made it abundantly clear that no one, absolutely no one in our country will be vaccinated if they do not wish to be. We uphold that right and respect it.
You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie?
First, he gassed us. Then, he lied to us.
We have made it abundantly clear that no one, absolutely no one in our country will be vaccinated if they do not wish to be. We uphold that right and respect it.
Can we really trust him not to implement mandates for children aged 5 to 11? Vote them out!
Welcome back to The Right Choice.
find their way into a university. They cannot have any opportunities to get jobs in the community. People can't develop themselves so that they can move up the socio-economic ladder and make progress in the community. Meanwhile, we have a representative that just sit down there and tell people sweet things, sweet lies around the constituency. But that is a big, big plaguing issue. We could go on for a long time, but let me let Richard get a chance to talk about the top things.
There's so many issues plaguing the St. John's Rural West constituency because of lack of representation. We can talk about the community center that has been taken away from the people, and that houses the St. John's Magistrates Court.
Yes.
We can talk about the lack of a secondary school. We can talk a little later about the story behind of that. We can talk about neglected drains and roads. In November, I believe, 2019, there was a significant flood in Antigua and Barbuda, and we were severely affected in St. John's Rural West, particularly in the low-lying areas, because our drains have not been cleaned, maintained, and so on. We can talk about lack of land and housing. We can talk about several other things, the security in the area. We can talk about jobs. We can talk about primary health care, where our clinics have been neglected. And
water in that area?
We have, well, in certain areas we get water at times. We remember under the Honorable Baldwin Spencer United Progressive Party, there was a grant from the Chinese government, People's Republic of China, to refurbish the Grace Hill Reservoir.
That's right.
After that was done, we got water 24/7 in St. John's Rural West and in the city of St. John's. After the Labour Party came to power, I can't tell you what happened, but it was back to what things were prior to the UPP coming to office. We should not be having such problems because we have the Grace Hill Reservoir. That was commissioned by the UPP to provide water for St. John's Rural West and the city environs. So there are many issues plaguing us, lack of recreational facilities, so many things plaguing St. John's Rural West that it would take the whole night to talk about them. Lack of representation. And the people of St. John's Rural West, they are looking for someone to represent their interests in the Parliament of Antigua and Barbuda and to advocate on their behalf. And that someone is Richard Lewis and the United Progressive Party.
It seems to me as though the current representative got elected and he went to sleep. It seems so.
He didn't expect to be elected.
Oh, I see.
So he wasn't prepared and he just went MIA. Hasn't done a thing for the people of St. John's Rural West.
And he went to Parliament and called some of his constituents idiots and all sorts of names, following, of course, in the footsteps of his leader, because that is the norm, name calling, that's the norm.
Lack of leadership.
Yes. And Brother Franz, I saw some images on social media of that infamous Tanner Street gutter with, a lot of garbage, the effluent, and, the total neglect. Is this one of the projects that you intend to undertake once the people elect you in City South?
Well, definitely, Jackie. In the next general election in Antigua, the people of St. John's City South will state that Franz de Freitas is the right choice for that constituency. And as you mentioned, Tanner Street has been something that has been neglected for many, many, many years. As you know, it represents the end part of a draining system that runs all the way past East Country Pond and brings water down to the sea. And that has just been gravely neglected, leading to all kinds of health challenges in the community. It is an eyesore. Just this morning, I'm walking to work from Andy Roberts Street, and you have tourists taking pictures of the nastiness, the grass that is going up in the middle of the street, the wall that is falling down there. It is just a disaster waiting for happen. And people live there, by the way. So the mosquito, hang them every night. You have the smell that emanates from there. And it really is something you would wonder if the representative for that area there ever passed across there and see how terrible it looks in the community. I will tell you, not only are we going to fix Tanner Street, but we're going to do a full redevelopment of the city of St. John's. And many people may or may not know that Oval's area was a very high-end, tight community 50, 60 years ago, is where everybody wanted to go and live. That's why we have so much great people that emanate from that community.
Yes, yes.
But we are going to restore that constituency from Newgate Street to Herbert's to make it be the model in Antigua for what a community is going to be. And I heard Brother Richard mention the issue of housing, something that is sorely lacking, particularly affordable housing for the working people of Antigua and Barbuda.
And that Ovals community would have been the birthplace of our living national hero.
Yes.
Sir Isaac Vivian Richards, whose feet you sat at.
That's right. I tell people all the time that, you know, I had the privilege of going down to Mr. and Mrs. Richards' house and talking to them regularly, his parents,
yes,
I might add. And when he was in his West Indies heyday, I had the opportunity to walk up the stairs of that house and play with his bat and sit down on his bed and so on. Somebody who up to today, when I meet him, is still the same open, welcoming person that I knew as a young man running around Ovals.
Yes, excellent, excellent. Now, where do you see your constituency in terms of development in the next 5 years? Once you're elected, June 15th, that's the date that we're throwing out here. June 15th, you're elected. Where do you see your constituency? Do you have, are you sitting down with your branch and with your team and mapping out a 5-year plan for your constituency?
We have already mapped out our plans for the next 5 years, yes, for the St. John's Wool West constituency. We have everything documented in consultation with the people. I spoke earlier to the issues, the major issues plaguing the constituency, and all these are things that can be addressed within the 5-year period. Not all of them we can complete. So we take, for example, the issue with the community center.
Yes.
Once elected, or when elected and the United Progressive Party comes to office, that community center is a pledge to the people of St. John's Wool West. That community center will be handed to the people of St. John's Wool West. That community center will be used to facilitate the education of our young people, in particular in the skills. I know there's a program with the University of the West Indies Open Campus, where they go out to communities and teach skills. So we're going to collaborate with the University of the West Indies Open Campus. There's also the issue with the basketball court that needs to be upgraded, and I plan to do that so we can have first-class matches being played right there at the Knocker Block facility. The new secondary school, we know that that's a sore point. That will certainly be on the cards on the United Progressive Party administration, and Richard Lewis as your representative. The drains, constant cleaning of the drains to make sure that if there is any significant downpour of rain, that we don't have the kind of significant floods that we would have had in the past. We have to look at our healthcare system. The Grace Farm Clinic needs to be upgraded to polyclinic status. The Honorable Baldwin Spencer started the work, and everything went haywire after that. We need to ensure that our clinic at Grace Farm is upgraded to polyclinic status. The clinic, satellite clinic in 5 Islands, that is also upgraded. There are land issues. We know that the St. John's Wool West constituency is a densely populated area. We need lands.
One of the largest constituencies, actually.
Correct. There are 93.75 acres of land that the Antigua Labour Party administration identified for an Iraqi village for 4,000 Iraqi families. Under United Progressive Party and Richard Lewis as your representative, those 93.75 acres of land will be subdivided for the people of St. John's Wool West, first of all, and then we look outside thereafter.
I thought that was scrapped. That's still on the cards?
I don't know that it has been scrapped, but I'm saying those lands will, on the United Progressive Party administration and Richard Lewis as your parliamentary representative, be subdivided for the people. Brother Franz spoke about housing. Yes, we need to look at low-income housing, real low-income housing for the people of and St. John's Rural West, and by extension, Antigua and Barbuda. What the Antigua Labour Party has touting as low-income housing is not low-income housing. We understand that. Many people cannot afford that. We look at recreational facilities. We need one in Hatton. We need one in Five Islands. There is something that's on the cards for the Golden Grove Extension, Cooks Extension area, and I plan to work with the, I think it's the Eldina Trust to ensure that that is advanced. There are so many things that we plan for the St. John's Rural West constituency. As I said, we have our 5-year plan already mapped out, and we are ready to go to represent the people of St. John's Rural West, to bring proper representation once again to the people. We're going back to basics.
Thank you. What about you, Brother Franz, your 5-year plan?
Yeah, so we're going to start out. There are a number of things that we must bring back to St. John's City South. And some people may not see them as priorities, but I have them squarely as priorities in my programming and plans after being in consultation with the people of St. John's City South. So you might know that organizations like Brute Force came out of St. John's City South.
Yes.
For the last 30 years, we don't have any pan in that constituency. The culture, the rich culture that Ovals has produced, we don't have any cultural programs. People like Oscar Mason who come out of that constituency. We don't have no cultural things happening in the community. We are going to be in St. John's City South, the home of trades and skills. Antigua and Barbuda needs an infusion of trades and skills in our society. We are sorely lacking in many areas. Not only are we going to create trades and skills in the constituency, but we're going to export those to other constituencies, the region, and the world. So my constituency is going to lead in that area. As it relates to entrepreneurial development, we are going to be the home where young people or any interested people in Antigua and Barbuda can come and find an incubator so that they can move from micro business to small business, and some of those businesses will go to medium size and some even to large scale businesses. We are going to be the hub of business innovation in Antigua, and you already know that I have the whole of St. John's Town. And so we are going to make sure that the current businesses have an environment in which they can operate. We are in the door mouth to Antigua and Barbuda for cruise tourism.
That's right.
And it looked like a rubbish heap. It smelled like the garbage down in the middle of St. John's Town. And we're going to change these so that we can have a port, a harbor mouth that is second to none in the region, and possibly something for the world to come and look at in St. John's City South. There are many, many things that are going to happen there. It is certainly not going to end at 5 years. It will take more than that. But in 5 years, we'll have a report card to report to the people of Antigua and Barbuda.
What about your constituency also includes the Fines Institute, our lone public senior citizens' home. It includes the police headquarters and the St. John's Police Station. Speak to some of these issues for us, Franz, because these are two neglected, totally neglected areas.
Let me speak to Fines Institute first. You know, as a boy, part of our mandate, particularly with my mom, and our church organization, was to visit the Fines Institute at its original location. It's now at a temporary...
Higher up.
Yeah. And I will just say to you that since I have become involved in politics here again, I've taken the opportunity personally to already start the reformation there, to provide fines with the things that it uses and needs every day. Basic things, disposable Pampers for the citizens that use that, walkers, canes, and other bed liners and other items that they consume on a regular basis. Now, you would think that because this constituency here is the home of fines, that my opponent will find himself up there giving back and making sure that we have a place that those who cannot afford anything else can be able to live comfortably. But only after he get too liquid and bulba that me had you find he go up there around go make too little contribution to fines. But we are going to transform Fines Institute into a world-class geriatric facility, both for daycare and full-time care.
Yes.
The seniors in my constituency and around Antigua and Barbuda want things to do, and they still have so much to contribute. We are going to find a facility and put something in place so that people can come on a daily basis and they can be able to contribute, not only in the seniors community, but we're going to integrate our young people with them so that we can sit down, pass on the culture, the history, the stories that make our country what it is, and Fines Institute will be at the top of that. It is a shame that the police headquarters and St. John's police station is in the condition. Police, I'm just telling y'all that you have to vote for Franz de Freitas in the next general election so that you can get people who consider what you do as important. My opponent does not care about you. And so, if we're going to have better working conditions, if you're going to get uniform that not tearing off on you and disintegrating when you wash them, you have to vote for Franz de Freitas. There is no other option. And even though the fire department and the prison are not in my constituency, those people there have to be taken care of in Antigua and Barbuda. A United Progressive Party is going to do that. We are the right choice, and the people of Antigua and Barbuda will put us there to be the next government.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to take another break, another commercial break, and we're going to come right back with discussions on national issues, some of the national issues facing both gentlemen, Brother Franz de Freitas and Senator Richard Lewis. Please remember to put your comments and your questions. If you have questions, they can take questions in the final segment of the program. Do stay with us.
Team with a fresh agenda, no more dictatorship, just good leadership. We lead the country in a prosperity and bring development to every community. Blue team, you know them are the right choice.
Go school, I have skill. I'm a hard worker, but there's just not enough jobs out there. The economy is so bad that I'm ashamed to say that we're in the year 2022 and water hardly won near the pipe. Now them can't tell how we, in order to get a job, I must take the job. I understand the vaccine is a good thing and all that, but I just hate the fact that it's mandated. It's my body, it's my choice. I shouldn't be denied a job, education or benefits because the choices I make for my body. For me, this time, personally, the UPP is the right choice because they are the party of choice.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? We'll move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for The Right Rhythm. The Right Rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's The Right Rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
It's time to join the family at the People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. We offer savings accounts, deposits, fixed deposits, loans, among other related services. You can even become a shareholder by purchasing a minimum of 50 shares at $5 per share. Membership is super easy and convenient. Just visit our newly opened credit union building on Upper Newgate Street, Monday to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with proof of ID and address, along with $15 to cover registration and passbook, and you'll be set and on your way. For further information, call 462-8888 or 727-2285. People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Today, tomorrow, together.
Welcome back to The Right Choice. And we are having a very intriguing discussion with Brother Franz De Freitas and Senator Richard Lewis. They're both standard bearers, the right choice for St. John's City South and St. John's Rural West. And gentlemen, Franz, there's something that you have become almost famous for. Mm-hmm. And that is, you've become known as the bull pistol. You notice I'm not using that other word on television, right? The bull pistol man. And we must make it very clear that this is just a metaphor. Because there's some thin-skinned people around, you know, and they may say, suggest that somehow you're using it literally and that you are threatening people in this election. But it's a metaphor. Well, tell us, Franz, this bull pistol, what inroads are you making with this bull pistol?
Well, Jackie, I just want to know. I'm not going to run away from the word bullbud because that is a cultural term. Eh? Okay. Nobody should be uncertain about what a bullbud is growing up in Antigua and Barbuda. We should all know that is an instrument that will drive fear and pain in the backs of people who receive that. Eh? However, I'm using it in its metaphorical context.
Yes.
Where it represents the voter ID card. And this is the instrument that we're going to use in Antigua and Barbuda to remove this wicked government that is unfit to rule the people here of Antigua and Barbuda. Everybody should have their proverbial bullbud in their voter ID card. And if you don't have your bullbud yet, you should go to your nearest registration center. Once you qualify to live in the constituency and you're 18 years old, go there tomorrow if you can and make sure that you have the proverbial bullbud so we can drive it in every one of the people and them that is sitting down in the cabinet right now.
Good. Brother Richard, you don't want to say a word after that.
Well, I agree with Brother Franz about the proverbial bullbud. I encourage everyone to get your voter's ID. If you're not yet registered, go out to the various centers and get registered. Get involved in the politics of your nation, especially young people.
Yes.
You are the future, and so you must have a say in what Antigua and Barbuda you want. Do not leave it up to those who are at the exit door to determine the kind of Antigua and Barbuda for you. Get registered, get involved, use that proverbial bullbud, your voter's ID card, to remove the Antigua Labour Party administration and give the United Progressive Party that opportunity to lead Antigua and Barbuda.
Yes, 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 that proverbial bull pistol and that metaphor. Now, tell us, brothers, what are some of the biggest national issues? You have gone parochial, you've talked about your various constituencies. Let's talk a little about some of the national issues. What's on the minds of the people of Antigua and Barbuda, and how you plan to address some of these issues. I know, Brother Richard, that education, empowerment, entrepreneurship for you, these are some big national issues which you're now carving out policies and programs to deal with. Brother Richard?
Yeah, education, the issue of not providing the kind of environment for the teaching, learning process to advance, not providing the materials needed to advance education. And every time I talk about education, a vexing matter comes to mind, because as a nation, we squandered $75 million on a failed, scandalous e-books project. And every time I think of that, I get, and I'm going to say angry, I mean, I get very concerned about Antigua and Barbuda. And I'm saying, some of that money could have been used to build a secondary school in rural West. Right? And so education is of particular concern to me, and I know it's also of concern to Brother Franz. And the United Progressive Party plans to deal with those issues. We're going to get answers, because we need answers on the $75 million that was squandered there. And so we definitely need answers. The United Progressive Party will bring to book those individuals to answer as to how those monies were spent and why we didn't get value for money. There are many, many issues plaguing education that we have to address. And on the United Progressive Party administration, those matters will be adequately addressed to make sure that our education system takes it to the next level. We owe it to our children. We owe it to our teachers. We owe it to the advancement of Antigua and Barbuda to give our students the best opportunity. When we think of the University of the West Indies at Five Islands, a good thing. We're happy for the University of the West Indies 5th campus being here in Antigua and Barbuda. But we have to give our students the best opportunity to flood the gates of the University of the West Indies. How do we do that? We make sure that we provide the materials that they need to advance at CXC. What we have now is, in the last results, 21% of our students pass 5 or more subjects, including math and English. That tells us that approximately 80%, 79%, 80% of those, our students, fail to make the matriculation requirement for university. We cannot continue like this. We need to make sure that we have more students matriculating to the University of the West Indies. And it is a sad state of affairs in my constituency. And at my alma mater, Otters Comprehensive, we need to fix that. And now the Richard Lewis and the United Progressive Party will certainly ensure that we pay particular attention to education and to ensure that our students get the best opportunity to advance to educate to university. Give them the opportunity and let them do what they wish with that.
And in addition to university, you're also looking at skills, building skills, those persons who want to go into business. Because everybody is not going to be academically inclined. And sometimes we tend to push the academics and not the skills, the masons and the carpenters and those persons who are not on the academic stream.
Sister Jackie, one of the things that the UPP has in mind when we get to office is to advance the work of the National Training Agency.
Yes.
To amalgamate ABIS and the NTA into something similar to what we have in Jamaica, the Heart Trust NSTA.
Yes, yes.
It is time. It is time for us to ensure that our skilled workers are certified, that they get the NVQs and the CVQs. The CVQs will allow them to travel through this region without needing a work permit to live as nationals in other countries live. So we need to amalgamate ABIS and the NTA into the Heart Trust NSTA. That will be done under the United Progressive Party.
Brother Franz, you want to come in here?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the issue about entrepreneurship. I think that we have really in Antigua and Barbuda lost a whole generation of people. You know, we come from a background where our grandparents and great-grandparents used to have trade. They used to have shop. They used to have businesses in Antigua and Barbuda. They used to raise animals in agriculture and convert that to income in Antigua and Barbuda. But somehow we have moved away from that. Poor people in Antigua are fed up with the condition that they find themselves in that they can barely afford to make it in the society. They are finding themselves at the bottom of the socio-economic rung, always having to be an employee somewhere for somebody else. Now, Jackie, I understand that everybody cannot be an entrepreneur. But my goodness, in Antigua and Barbuda, the people that live and work here have to have an opportunity to participate. It cannot continue to be all foreign direct investment that is boosting the economy in Antigua and Barbuda. It cannot continue to be that we are just consuming everything and producing nothing as a nation of Antigua and Barbuda. We must create the environment for Antigua and Barbuda people to have businesses, for them to make money, for them to get rich like all the other people and them that have opportunities to come here. The United Progressive Party is going to find a way to make sure that they can empower the people of this nation, and we can compete toe-to-toe with many of the concessions that we're giving away to people that just show up in Antigua and Barbuda. We're going to make sure that the people of this country have an opportunity to be able to participate and be able to raise themselves out of this poverty that we find ourselves in Antigua and Barbuda.
Brothers, I know that you want to just quickly touch on the issue of fuel and water. Those are two major issues nationally that people are concerned about. Solving the water problem and ensuring that the scandalous, I have to say, the callous, brazen fuel hike that we had over the last 2 weeks, that you are going to do something about it as a government.
Yes, where the fuel is concerned, I'll take that one. I think what is most egregious is the fact that the Gaston Brown-led administration, at the time when they could have passed the savings on to the people of Antigua and Barbuda, when the price of fuel in the world market went low, very, very low. As a matter of fact, at one point, some countries, what they were doing, the price of oil was so low that they were stocking up for a rainy day.
We didn't stock up.
We did not stock up. We didn't pass the savings on to the people. The government was making what? $7.50 to $8 per gallon of gas, and didn't pass the savings on to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. All right, they didn't do that. Now there was a hike in the price of fuel on the world market, and the conscionable thing to have done was to absorb, because you didn't pass the savings on to the people at that time. So absorb that. Absorb that. Instead of doing that, they added what? $3 plus cents onto a gallon of fuel on the backs of Antiguans and Barbudans. That's wicked. That's vindictive. That is unconscionable.
Brother Franz?
Yeah, look, the issue of water in Antigua and Barbuda is one that is plaguing, it's irritating. And let me just say, even before I touch the water, the knock-on effect of the increase in fuel price is going to kill us in this country when it comes to food prices. Yes. Just yesterday here, you already see LPG, the price of that increasing, not because West Indies oil carry up the price, but because of the cost of fuel to deliver that LPG to the people in Antigua and Barbuda. They are going to hang us with increased food price in this country because of the increase in fuel price. People are going to start to suffer in a way that we have never seen before. And this issue of 2022, not having water in your pipe every day, is a human rights crisis that we have in Antigua and Barbuda. People cannot cook. They can't wash their skin every day in Antigua and Barbuda. We have to be constantly throwing up water every morning you get up. In 2022, nobody can think that that is something that is possible in this day. And you have a government that instead of they look to solve the problem, you have many of them benefiting and profiting off of the production of water in Antigua and Barbuda. Antigua people must vote them out of power just for that alone.
Okay, we're going to take some of the comments and questions on Facebook. Somebody says, Franz is frank, fast, and fascinating. That's a lovely compliment. Thank you. Someone else says, on this forum, we not only get to meet the candidates, but we get to meet our supporters. Let's go, everyone. Each one, teach one. Franz, Sister Sam says to remember Belmont and Brigands.
Man, I forgot.
Okay. Somebody else says, come on, Jackie. We are Antiguan and Barbudan and a bull bud, we call it. Oh, dear me. Okay. All right. So, bull bud, we say. Stop it, Jackie. Oh, dear me. They don't like to hear bull pistol. Okay. All right. So, we'll go with friends. Take out your voter's ID card, your bull bud, your proverbial bull bud. Okay. Somebody else says, I hope so. I'm going to hold to you guys. I'm going to hold you guys to that. Someone else asks, what's the plan for the school meals when UPP get into office? I heard the spaghetti sauce smell like hag. That's supposed to be hog. Well, hog. Smell like hog mess today for the school meals.
Oh, my.
Friends, we're not going to use that term there. Sounding good, Brother Richard. That's my rep. Youth Skill is still up and running. Somebody's asking. What else? Good night. I'm late. Okay. Let's get in some more. Harold Lover has to feel very proud right now just listening to you guys. I'm feeling so delighted just listening. And, okay, so let's take that question. Somebody else says, I'm ready to vote. UPP is the only choice we have. So much practical plans which once implemented strategically will give Antiguan a life. Antiguans and Barbudans will be transformed. Friends, make sure you and your campaign team and the UPP supporters in the city so be aware of the evil and conniving tactic that Barabbas practiced. All right. So let's take that question about the school meals, and someone is asking the price at the pump is higher than minimum wages. That is scandalous. That is wicked, actually. And someone else says Richard Lewis is the right choice.
Indeed.
School meals program?
Look, we established the school meals program, the United Progressive Party, that is. We know what is to be done. The Antigua Labour Party administration emasculated the program. Under the United Progressive Party, we are definitely going to ensure that the school meals program return to its former glory. Our vision then was nutrition for learning. We know that children, some in some vulnerable households, need nutrition for learning in our schools. So we know what is to be done. And we will return the school meals program to its former glory when the United Progressive Party returns to government.
Okay, that issue, someone asked about youth skills. Brother Franz, you want to take that because that's actually up your street. You are the person in charge of Youth Lead. You have been championing young people's empowerment and making sure that you keep them inspired and motivated with your programs and so on. And I think that we need that kind of infusion, that kind of leadership in the youth department. Not that I'm giving you that ministry.
Wherever. But the idea is, we have to understand that education is not just academics.
Yes.
There are multiple gates that must come out of the secondary school system in Antigua and Barbuda. And skills and trades, entrepreneurship are three that we currently don't have. I am even going to go a step further and suggest that issues like nursing, that is not a skill and trade, but a profession that is based in science. We have a school of nursing down at UWI. Anybody can explain to me why we're not equipping our young people from secondary school to go down there and get nursing degrees so that we can export nursing ambassadors and other medical and healthcare professionals all around the world? We have the resources here at a university level. We have the tools that are in place. Let us start in the secondary school to teach nursing. That's not new. It's not an idea that I came up with. It exists around the world that you can make the children start their first step into nursing, coming out. Make them be EMTs coming out of secondary school. And also, we have to understand that trades are not what you do when you fail school. Trades are education. They represent a base of entrepreneurship that is necessary for the rebuilding and development and maintenance of a nation. That also is an economic sector, that if we send young boys and young girls who are welders, who are carpenters, who are masons, plumbers, electricians, solar panel installers outside of our country, there is a thing called remittances that come back to Antigua and Barbuda that in many islands in the region represent a part of their GDP. We can do those things too. All we have to do is revision what education is and how we present that, and we will be on a path. The United Progressive Party, the right choice, will do that.
Well, gentlemen, I can tell you, this has been an intellectual tour de force. This night has been really inspiring. I sit here in awe of both of you and the kinds of plans that you're going to bring to Antigua and Barbuda. And I know that the people of Antigua and Barbuda are also listening. We're going to take our last commercial break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up tonight's discussion with Brother Richard Lewis and Brother Franz de Freitas. Do stay with us.
Just feel like people not understand me. I don't want to even give me a chance. Go school, my hard skill. I'm a hard worker, but there's just not enough jobs out there. The economy is so bad that I'm ashamed to say that we're in the year 2022 and water hardly one near the pipe. Now them can't tell how we, in order to get a job, I must take the job. I understand the vaccine is a good thing and all that, but I just hate the fact that it's mandated. It's my body, it's my choice. I shouldn't be denied a job, education or benefits because the choices I make for my body. For me, this time, personally, the UPP is the right choice because they are the party of choice.
Welcome back to The Right Choice. We are, of course, very, very honored to be speaking with Senator Richard Lewis, Senate Minority Leader in the Senate of Antigua and Barbuda, and, of course, the standard bearer for St. John's Rural West, and Brother Franz de Freitas from the St. John's City South constituency. And this now, sirs, is your opportunity to speak to your constituents. Look into that camera. Speak to the nation of Antigua and Barbuda and tell us why you are the right choice.
Residents of St. John's Rural West, people of Antigua and Barbuda, I am the right choice for St. John's Rural West because I stood in the gap at a time when this constituency was poorly represented, lacked representation. I stood in the gap. Richard Lewis became the advocate for the people of St. John's Rural West. Richard Lewis became the defender of the people of St. John's Rural West. I am the right choice because I defended your right to choose. I am the right choice because I advocated for you. I advocated for you at the Keeling Point pier situation when it collapsed. I advocated for you with our community center. I advocated for you for our secondary school. I advocated for you for the situation at Federation Road with the drains. I advocated for you when the Labour Party administration decided that they were going to neglect the people of St. John's Rural West for one reason or another. I advocated for you. I am the right choice because I stood in the gap and provided for the needs of the St. John's residents of St. John's Rural West. I recall the many times when I initiated the back-to-school supplies program. I recall the many times that I provided or saw to the needs of the residents of St. John's Rural West, the social needs, our social programs. I recall the many times that I stood in the gap and provided or saw to the needs of your infrastructural issues. I recall one time when a group of residents over there in Cook's Extension went to the parliamentary representative and outlined the issues that we were having with an access road. And he said to them to go to Public Works. I am the right choice because I stood in the gap and solved the problem for the people in that area of the constituency. I am the right choice because I have decided that rather than complaining, just complaining, I have provided solutions to our problems in St. John's Rural West. I am the right choice for St. John's Rural West in the next general elections. Richard Lewis and the United Progressive Party.
Thank you, Brother Richard. Brother Franz?
Thanks, Jackie, for the opportunity. I just want to speak directly to the people of St. John's City South. Franz de Freitas is the right choice because it is time that that constituency has a voice, has a representative that is sensitive to the needs of the community. Franz is the right choice because children are tired of not having opportunities in sports, not having proper resources in schools. Children don't have the opportunity to develop culturally and develop in the crafts and the arts and music and other skills. I am the right choice because people don't have jobs in the community of St. John's City South. People don't have the opportunity to build businesses and scale the businesses that they currently have so that they can make more money as we change and we grow in Antigua and Barbuda. I am the right choice because we have senior citizens that we kick to the curb after we use them like toilet paper. It is time for people to choose Franz de Freitas so that we could care for all facets of our community. I'm the right choice because the disabled need parity in St. John's City South. I am the right choice because if we don't change right now in Antigua and Barbuda and put the United Progressive Party to govern this country, we might be living in an apartheid state not very far from now. Please, everybody who is listening here understand that Franz de Freitas with the United Progressive Party is the right choice. We must make the change in the next general election.
I want to thank you both gentlemen for speaking so candidly, so passionately, and certainly so interestingly to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. We've been speaking to two intellectual giants, two community-minded gentlemen, two very passionate candidates for the United Progressive Party, Senator Richard Lewis and Brother Franz de Freitas, the standard bearers for St. John's Rural West and St. John's City South. Join us again next week, same time, for another edition of The Right Choice. Our guests will be Brother Alex Brown and Brother Courtwright Marshall. I'm Jackie Quinn. Have a good night.
My father died when I was just 5 years old. My mother came from Willikies village. She had 5 young mouths to feed, and she toiled on her sewing machine to make ends meet. She was a strong woman who taught us right from wrong. And even though she struggled, the choices she made put us on the right path. I made the choice to work hard, play by the rules, and get an education. I had a number of opportunities, but I chose to return to Antigua and inspire the next generation. I taught at the Antigua Grammar School, and it's here that I saw firsthand how education transforms lives. I made the choice to get into politics because of the lack of resources that I saw in our schools. I saw how our teachers and families struggled, whilst an elite few got ahead. When the people granted us the opportunity to serve in government, we had a lot of work to do. As Minister of Finance, I helped to clean up the rot of 30 years of one-party rule. We saw our country through the global financial crisis and the Stanford collapse. Through all of that, we introduced the school meals program, the school uniform program, and laptops for children. While we were not perfect, no one is perfect but Almighty God. We worked day in and day out to defend the nation and put people first. Today I see too many families struggling for a lack of jobs and the mental stress that comes with it. The cost of living is out of control, and for too many of us, water is still not readily available. and our needed pension checks are not coming on time. While the elite few did well, the ABLP denied you the right to choose what you put in your body. Whilst we believe in vaccines, we don't believe it's the responsibility of government to control your bodies. We will bring an end to all the mandates. This election is about choice, and we believe that we are the right choice because we give you the choice.
First, he gassed us. Then, he lied to us.
We have made it abundantly clear that no one, absolutely no one in our country will be vaccinated if they do not wish to be. We uphold that right and respect it.
Can we really trust him not to implement mandates for children aged 5 to 11? Vote them out!
Are you ready? Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? We'll move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for The Right Rhythm. The Right Rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's The Right Rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
It's time to join the family at the People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. We offer savings accounts, deposits, fixed deposits, loans, among other related services. You can even become a shareholder by purchasing a minimum of 50 shares at $5 per share. Membership is super easy and convenient. Just visit our newly opened credit union building on Upper Newgate Street, Monday to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with proof of ID and address, along with $15 to cover registration and passbook, and you'll be set and on your way. For further information, call 462-8888 or 727-2285. People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Today, tomorrow, together.
The United Progressive Party. The right choice.